Good morning, students. Today we'll be continuing with Science 1, chapter number 8, Metallurgy. We'll be learning about reactions of metals. In the previous lesson, we learnt about reaction of metals with oxygen. So now we'll be starting with reaction of metals with water. Take some samples of metal pieces and drop each piece of the metal in a separate beaker filled with cold water. Now see how they react with the cold water. Does all of them react, or some of them are floats, some of them do not react? To make a chart with your observations written on it. It is seen that sodium and potassium reacts rapidly, that is quickly and vigorously, with water and liberates hydrogen gas. Sodium plus water gives sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas plus heat is liberated. Similarly, potassium reacts with water forming potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas and heat is given out. That means both of these are exothermic reactions. On the other hand, calcium reacts with water slowly and less vigorously. The hydrogen gas released in this reaction collects on the surface of the metal in the form of bubbles and the metal starts floating on water. So calcium reacts with water to form calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Metals like aluminium, iron and zinc do not react with cold or hot water, but they react with steam to form their corresponding oxides. Hydrogen gas is released in this reaction. For example, aluminium reacts with water to form aluminium oxide and hydrogen. Iron reacts with water to form iron oxide and again hydrogen gas is liberated. Zinc reacts with water to form zinc oxide and hydrogen gas is liberated. So to summarize, we can say that metals react with water to form their corresponding hydroxide and hydrogen gas is given out. This experiment shows how hydrogen gas is collected. Hydrogen is collected by a downward displacement of water as it is less denser than water. Hence it comes out at the surface of water. It is insoluble in water, so it does not dissolve in water. So if you can see over here that the hydrogen gas goes up and the water level comes down. To summarize, you can see how it is. Potassium, sodium reacts violently, calcium less violently, magnesium hot water, aluminium steam, iron steam, zinc steam, lead, silver, gold and copper does not react with water at all. Reaction of metals with acids. In the earlier chapters, we have looked into reaction of metals with acid. Are all the metals equally reactive? No, we know that. When samples of aluminium, magnesium, iron or zinc are treated with dilute sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, sulfate or chloride salts of metals are formed. Hydrogen gas is liberated in this reaction. The reactivity of these metals can be indicated by the following sequence that shows the reactivity of metals. That means magnesium is more reactive than aluminium, aluminium more reactive than zinc and zinc more reactive than iron. So when you write down the chemical equation, you can write it like magnesium reacts with acid, hydrochloric acid to form magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. Similarly, aluminium reacts with hydrochloric acid to form aluminium chloride and hydrogen gas. Iron reacts with hydrochloric acid to form iron chloride and hydrogen gas. Zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid to form zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. So if you look at the sequence, we can summarize and say that metals react with acids to form their corresponding salt and hydrogen gas is given out. As I said, metals plus acid form salt and hydrogen, and the equations that we saw is given in wordings. Only here if you see the sulfuric acid is spelling is little different that we normally learn. Nitric acid we know is a very strong acid. The previous ones we saw about was hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid. So normally nitrate salts of metals are formed on the reaction of metals with nitric acid. Various oxides of nitrogen, that is nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen oxide, etc. are formed in accordance with the concentration of the nitric acid. So when we saw previously, we said that metals react with acids to form their corresponding salt and hydrogen gas. But in case of nitric acid, instead of hydrogen gas, either nitrogen oxide or nitrogen dioxide is formed. So if you see the first equation, copper plus concentrated nitric acid forms copper nitrate plus nitrogen dioxide and water. Similarly, copper plus nitric acid dilute forms copper nitrate, nitrogen oxide plus water. All these equations are the reactions that you have learned till now. You need to learn the chemical reactions because you will be getting in the question either to balance them or to write the balanced chemical reaction. Here we learn about something called as aqua regia or aqua regia. This is a highly corrosive and fuming liquid. It is one of the few reagents that can dissolve the noble metals like gold and platinum. Aqua regia is freshly prepared by mixing concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in the ratio 3:1. That means 3 parts of HCl and 1 part of HNO3. This is to dissolve metals which normally do not dissolve in acids. So to summarize what we learned about reactivity of metals, how metals react with oxygen, with water and acid. So you can see how sodium reacts with water, with oxygen, with acid, similarly all the others. And looking at this, we are able to understand which metals are very reactive and which metals are less reactive. For example, we can see gold, silver are very less reactive or rather no reaction at all, while sodium, potassium are quite reactive. The next reaction, reaction of metals with salts of other metals. So here what we have taken is the experimental setup. If you can see in the first test tube there is copper sulfate and you have put iron nail inside it. In the second one we have put iron sulfate and you have put copper wire, just vice versa. Now so the whole procedure can be seen. You take clean copper wire and clean copper nail, then put the copper wire in a ferrous sulfate solution while the iron nail in the copper sulfate solution. Keep on observing continuously, taking care that it is covered completely, and see how quickly the iron nail reacts with copper sulfate solution or the copper wire reacts with iron sulfate solution. So from the previous experiment, we can conclude that a more reactive metal always displaces a less reactive metal from its salt solution. So if we put magnesium in copper sulfate, magnesium will displace copper to form magnesium sulfate. Similarly, zinc will displace copper from copper sulfate and form zinc sulfate. Iron will displace copper from copper sulfate and form iron sulfate. That means the reactivity of all metal is not same. However, the reagent oxygen, water and acids are not useful to determine the relative reactivities of all the metals, as all the metals do not react with them. So we cannot say that who is more reactive or who is less reactive. But the displacement reaction of metals with solution of salts of other metals serve this purpose. If a metal A displaces another metal B from the solution of its salts, then it means that A is more reactive than B. If we write it down, so metal A plus salt of metal B forms salt solution of metal A plus B. That means if you are taking, say for example, iron and copper sulfate, and in that case if iron is displacing copper from copper sulfate, it means that iron is more reactive than copper. From this we derive the reactivity series of metals. The arrangement of metals in the increasing or decreasing order of reactivity is called as the reactivity series of metals. Metals are basically divided into 3 groups based on their reactivity: highly reactive metal, moderately reactive metals and less reactive metal. So if you look at the chart over there, so we can say that sodium, lithium and all are highly reactive, whereas gold is less reactive. This is another chart to show the arrangement of metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity. So potassium most reactive, and again we can see that silver and gold is less reactive. Reaction of metals with non-metals. We have learned that the noble gases do not take part in a chemical reaction. Why? Because the outermost shell of the noble gases are complete. So they don't have to form a duplet or a octet. While the metals form cations by oxidation, and they are always trying to form the duplet state or the octet state. That means to complete their outermost orbit. And in a process to do so, they react and forms a compound. Like for example, an example is given over here. Sodium reacts with chlorine to form sodium chloride. So if you try to understand how the metal and a non-metal reacts, and the previous example that we just saw, that sodium reacts with chlorine to form sodium chloride. Now sodium is a metal, so it loses electron and becomes electropositive. So we know that sodium has an electronic configuration of 2, 8 and 1. So it loses one electron and it becomes sodium ion, that is 2 and 8. Similarly, chlorine. Chlorine is a non-metal and it gains electron and becomes the electronegative element. The atomic number of chlorine is 17. Its electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 7. So it gains that one electron that is lost by sodium and forms a complete octet, that is 2, 8, 8. And when they come together by the ionic bond, they form a ionic compound called as sodium chloride. So to diagrammatically represent it, sodium is losing one electron. That one electron is given to chlorine. Now sodium becomes positively charged ion because it has lost one electron, and chlorine becomes a negatively charged ion that gains one electron. And there is an electrostatic bond between both of them. And this attraction between sodium ion and chlorine ion results in the formation of a electrovalent or ionic compound called as sodium chloride or sodium chloride molecule. We have learned about it in the lower class also, especially in the 9th standard. Another example is magnesium chloride. Now here magnesium has a atomic number of 12. So its electronic configuration is 282. So it loses 2 electron and gets a charge of +2 and it becomes a magnesium ion +2. Similarly, chlorine has an electronic configuration of 287. That means magnesium has lost 2 electrons. So it gives 1 electron to one chloride ion and gives another electron to another chloride ion, and combined they form a ionic compound called as magnesium chloride, that is MgCl2. This is the formation of magnesium chloride. This gives rise to the next topic of ionic compound. We'll be seeing that in the next lecture. Thank you.